Hey everybody, this is Randy Justice, one of the owners at Knox Horizon Complete Auto Care, and I have with me our senior tech, Joseph Childress, and today we want to talk about customers' expectations of reality versus reality in automotive repair. And what I mean by that is we've had some recently that I'd like to address. We had a customer that we had a Toyota Prius that was in here. Is that correct?
2013.
We did a pre-purchase inspection. It was a vehicle they were thinking about purchasing from a car lot, a used lot. They wanted us to do a pre-purchase inspection, see if it was a good car, and we did that inspection. We found very minimal things wrong with it. Overall, it was a very good vehicle at the time we inspected it. What we told them, and I tell this to everyone that we do inspections on, it is a mechanical piece of equipment with a whole lot of electronics because it's a hybrid. I don't have x-ray vision, can't see all the internals, and I don't have a crystal ball, and sometime in the future it's going to break. It just is. So it was like 8 weeks later, the engine blew a head gasket. And the lady was mad, left us a horrible review saying that we should have known there was a head gasket problem. There was no head gasket problem when we did the initial inspection. And again, as I told her, it's mechanical. At some point in the future, it's going to break. I don't have that crystal ball, and again, I don't have the x-ray vision. But everything checked out as far as the engine to be in great working condition when it was in here. Now, the other problem is that when it overheated, she drove it far enough that according to Toyota, where she took it, she actually melted internal components in that aluminum engine. Not our fault, but yet her expectation is that we should have been able to see into the future. We had a gentleman that was just in here a few days ago. We worked on his vehicle. It was an Audi. His son had put, how many quarts of oil did he put in that system?
It was supposed to have
4
six.
point-
Yeah, it was supposed to have 5 quarts, and he had
14
14
quarts.
It was.
The son put 14 quarts in a 5-quart system. Of course, the car wasn't going to run. It stopped. He cranked it over so much that he melted internal parts of the starter, correct?
Yes.
So we drained the oil, got that right, and tons of oil smoke coming out of it. We finally got everything right. We had to replace the starter because he had destroyed it. And that was 6 months ago. So the gentleman comes in a week ago. He has a code in the car that he thinks 6 months ago we should have known about and fixed, and that an Audi dealer somewhere told him, well, it never needed a starter. Well, one is, I would have to ask, if the Audi dealer really told him that, were they here 6 months ago to see the starter was melted and everything, the old one? No, they weren't. They lied to him. And that's what a lot of shops do. But his expectation is that 6 months ago we fixed his car and it's driven well for 6 months, and most of the repairs we do come with a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. And instead of calling the 800 number if he thought there was a problem with our repair, no, he takes it somewhere else, pays money out of his pocket for repair even unrelated to what we did, and then comes back and expects us to pay for it. That's not reality. Again, I don't have x-ray vision, and I don't have that crystal ball to tell me what's going to break in the future. But it's a mechanical item, and the more wear and tear you put on a car, it's going to happen. I think my favorite one, and you'll love this one, our Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Our Dodge Charger. This was a Dodge Charger that we've worked on many times. It came in here several months ago. I think it was about 6 months, may have been 8. But it came in here, and the gentleman did not change his oil regularly. It was 7,000 miles past due on the oil change. It had plugged up most of the engine, if I remember correctly. The oil pump was bad. There was a whole lot of things that were bad in that we had to remove the oil pan, remove the oil pump. Change the oil pump. We had to clean the entire engine out, and we got it back to where it was running. But even at that time, we told him, due to his lack of maintenance, that there would be future problems. So he's brought it back several times, and I will admit, after I lectured him on getting the oil changes done, he's had them done regularly. But there was damage done from where he wasn't getting them done and was 7,000 miles overdue on an oil change. So when he came in, we did an oil change on it. 600 miles later, the oil pump went out. Now again, that oil pump we put in 6-8 months ago had a 24-month, 24,000 mile warranty, but he had put over 43,000 miles on it since we put on there. It was out of warranty. The oil pump failed and it took out the engine. There was tons of metal in that engine when we got done. So what I have to say about that again, no x-ray vision, no crystal ball. You know, I can't predict those things. But he said it's our fault. He said that we left the oil plug loose. The oil plug wasn't loose. He said it had no oil in it, and he put a quart in it. Well, when it got here, it was a quart over full. So no, it had oil in it. The oil pump failed. Again, not our fault. A mechanical failure, something we couldn't see that's internal in the engine. So that's part of the problem. The other thing is people don't understand today diagnostics on cars. Check engine light comes on, they go, and I'm going to show you this right here. You go down to an Advanced, an AutoZone, an O'Reilly's. Sorry I gave them plugs for this, but they take a little scan tool like this. $50-something scan tool, maybe $60 scan tool. They plug it in. All it does is read codes. And what we found is it don't always read them right, does it? And they'll give you one code. Oh, it's got a oxygen sensor code. You need to replace the oxygen sensor. How many things are on that oxygen sensor circuit that can set that
That's
code?
the whole part of your whole engine management. There's several different things that you would have to check first before you can condemn an oxygen sensor. That just gives you a place to start at.
It tells you what circuit. That's what it tells you. It does not tell you the oxygen sensor is wrong. And I've told people, we'll replace the oxygen sensor if that's what you want us to do, but that's probably not going to fix your problem. And if it doesn't, then you're out the money for the oxygen sensor, the labor we've taken to do it without diagnosing the car. Yes, diagnostics are not cheap. We charge $135 for a check engine light diagnostic because and what people don't realize, instead of having a little $50 scan tool, we have a $6,000 piece of equipment that we have to hook up that gives us everything, which not only reads the codes, but we can go in and manage different parts of those systems. We can turn sensors on and off. We can check whether actuators or things are moving right. We check the whole system, and it takes time. And when we get the code, it may be an O2 sensor code, but what do we have to do then to diagnose that?
We have to go by a flow chart that we got all the way down the list from top to bottom. We have to go in order, check everything, make sure nothing else is failing until we get to that O2 sensor circuit.
How many times have we had and we've done this, I've seen it happen before, somebody will come in here with a catalytic converter code, the famous CAT code. And we had a Chevy truck in here. As a matter of fact, it's the one I like to use as an example. They said, oh, we got a CAT code, the cats are bad. Catalytic converter wasn't bad. They hadn't replaced the air filter. The air filter was set in the code because the thing couldn't breathe. The air filter can affect the oxygen sensor code. But most customers don't know these things. They've not had the training. Joseph and every one of our technicians goes through continuous training on these engine management systems. And cars today have multiple computer systems. You, depending on the car, it can have anywhere from, if it's a really older car, it can have one computer, up to, I think the most I've seen now is 18.
There's actually,
Oh,
on the brand new Mercedes and stuff, there's up towards 50.
Yeah, so we talk about Mercedes, you got up toward 50 different computer modules on that car, and any one of them can go bad. It's electronics. And let's be honest, things are just not made like they used to be made. How many times recently have we gotten a brand new part out of the box,
Being bad.
and it's bad right out of the box? So that's another thing that customers just don't understand. Now what happens when we have that brand new part we got? We have to take care of it. And that's covered by the people we got the parts from, our parts suppliers, where we get paid to redo that. Customers ask me all the time, and here's another one of those, the expectations of reality versus reality. Customers all the time ask us, well, I'm gonna bring my own parts. We do not install customer parts, and here's why. Number one, we can't cover it with that nationwide warranty, but not only that, it's the liability factor of it too, because now courts all across the U.S. are saying, we don't care who supplied the part, you're the last one that worked on it, the part failed, and these people's brakes went out and hit somebody, you're liable. We never supplied the part. So that's why we won't install customer supplied parts, because we have to stand behind it, not only with the warranty, but with the liability section. And I got off track a little bit, but like Joseph said with that flow chart, that's what people don't understand. When we print out the flow chart, which could have multiple steps, it could have 3 steps, it could have 300 steps. And I had an ABS system once that it was back when we had to print the flow charts out, and literally I held it up here and the paper unfolded all the way to the ground. And it was funny, and here's what customers don't understand in that flow chart. This was on a Chevy Lumina. This was back in the 90s. And trust me, cars have only gotten more complicated since that time, not any easier. But back in the 90s, this guy came in and his ABS light was on, his anti-lock braking system light was on. So I pulled all the codes out, printed the flow chart. I did the first test, and it said if this test fails, replace the ABS module and retest. So I called the guy because the ABS module was $600 and something to replace. And the customer said, so that'll fix my problem? I said, no sir, it's not what I'm saying. And I read to him exactly what it said in the procedures. This is what we have to replace first because it failed this test, and then we have to retest. Well, what if it doesn't fix it? Then you can return the computer module, right? No, sir. Once the computer module is open, it cannot be returned. They will not take it back, and somebody's out $600 and something, and it's not going to be us. We're not going to do that because we're just following the manufacturer's flow charts on how we have to diagnose and repair these vehicles. And the guy asked me, though, he said, well, what happens if I don't replace it? Then you just have regular brakes. Your ABS light's going to stay on. You just won't have any anti-lock brakes. Because there was another, if I remember in that one particularly, it's been a long time, but I remember there was 240 steps in diagnosing that system at that time. And again, they've not gotten any easier, have they?
Well, they haven't.
So that's just, and that's why we wanted to talk about this, you know, the expectations of reality versus reality. We can repair something today, it doesn't mean that something else isn't going to break tomorrow. It's a mechanical car. People are keeping their vehicles longer and longer and longer. We're seeing some cars in here now that's over 20 years old that people are hanging on to because prices for new vehicles have just gotten so high. So what I would tell people is, you know, take it to a reputable shop. Quit going to your parts stores to get a code and then them thinking they've told you how to fix it. Not their job. They're there to sell parts. And I'm sorry, we use a lot of those as parts suppliers, but they're doing a disservice to customers in my opinion. There's some that will not do that. Absolutely not. We have one supplier that if somebody comes in, they'll tell them point blank, nope, here's a shop you need to take it to, because they know it's not their job. It's like people will come in all the time. We've spent, man, what did we spend last year in diagnostics? Over $600,000 in new equipment just to keep up with the demands of the new cars. So we've invested a lot to make sure we can repair your vehicles correctly and do it right the first time. But I have people all the time, they'll come in here, their battery's bad. Well, this parts store down the street, XYZ parts store, will replace it for free. Well, good, maybe you should have taken it to them because, you know, there's nothing in life for free. They're going to mark the battery up to cover whatever it is. I'm just going to tell you. Whereas here, we diagnosed it, we told you what's wrong, and yes, we're going to charge you to install the battery, but again, we're standing behind it with a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. Anyway, I hope I've cleared up a little bit about the expectations of reality versus reality. And I hope that you've learned something today, and we plan on making a whole lot more videos to help inform you about the automotive repair industry. Joseph, you got anything you want to add to any of this?
Nothing,
right
you
now?
covered it all.
Guys, hope y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Hey everybody, Randy Justice again. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you found this video informative and you'd like to, please subscribe, hit that like button. If you want to be notified when we upload other videos, please hit that notification bell. And you all have a wonderful day.